Hi guys, it's been a minute. Welcome back to Anita Crochets. My name is Anita. It's been a long time and I am glad to be back. I am going to be taking you guys through how to make this Sunburst baby romper. It's 6 months to 18 months. Okay, so this is how it looks like, and it's going to be very simple, although kind of lengthy, which I never thought a video of a baby project could be this lengthy. But let me take you through the materials that we are going to need for this project, and then we can get started. Links to the written pattern are going to be in the description box, so let's get started. Here are the materials we are going to use. I have this yarn. It's size 4 yarn. It is chunky. I have worked with it because I've made several rompers with this yarn. But an alternative, if someone can't get size 4 yarn, you can use size 3 yarn. That is way softer and kind of like thinner, slightly thinner. It's just that the measurements are going to like differ. Even the sizing will differ because of the difference in the yarn size. But that is going to be like, looked into because I have a tape measure and I'm going to share all measurements with you guys. Now you're going to need a pair of scissors, and I'm going to be working with a 4.5 millimeter hook, and then you have yourself a tape measure. This is just for us to have accuracy in our work, but it's not really a big deal to have it. I almost forgot, we shall need buttons. I have this, 4 of them. It's a small pack, that's how it comes. Then we shall need threads and a needle. Alright, so let's get into the tutorial. All the measurements so that we can all have something that is accurate or accurate results. Now something else you'll need is a yarn needle and then buttons. Yeah, you'll need a yarn needle and buttons. To get the romper started, we are going to start with the waistline. So I'm going to make a slip knot, and I am going to chain 35. Now if you want to size down, then you can chain 31, but for the size that I am working, it is 6 months to 1 year. I am going to chain 35. Okay, any other adjustments if one wants to like size down to a 0 to 6 months size, I think I'll share that in the written pattern, but for this I'm just sharing one size. Okay, so we are going to chain 35, and I'm going to get back to you guys after you have all 35 chains, then I show you what to do. Here we are. I have my 35 chains. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the second chain stitch from the hook, and in there I am going to work a single crochet. Then I am going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until the end of the row. Now since we have started from the second chain stitch from the hook, we are going to have a total of 34 stitches. So just work 1 single crochet into every chain stitch until you come to the end of the row. Then I'm going to meet you at the end of your row, then show you what to do. What we are making right now is the back part of our you would call it a knicker or a bottom, but yes, this is like the back part of it. Okay, so just work your single crochets all the way down until the end of the row, then I'll meet you there and show you what to do. Now here we are approaching the end of our row, and this is my last stitch. So this is how your work should look like at this point. Okay, now here I am now going to get started on the next row, which is going to have like a decrease both when starting and ending the row, but I just want to measure this for you guys so that you can see the width that I have with me. I have a width of 9 inches. Okay, a width of 9 inches. If you're working centimeters, this should be 20, I think 27 or something, not sure, I didn't see that clearly, but yes, we have 9 inches of width. So we are going to start working our decreases. And for this row, I'm going to call this the row of decrease, okay, because I'm going to have a decrease when starting and ending the row. Now what happens here is we are going to chain 1 and turn our work, and then we are going to work 2 single crochets together. That's in the first and the second stitch. All right, Then from here we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch, 1 single crochet into every stitch until I have 2 stitches left to end my row. So I'm going to let you work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we have 2 stitches to end the row. That's where I'm going to meet you guys, then I can show you how we end this row, right? Alright, so now that we have come to almost the end of our row, you can see that I have 2 stitches left to end my row. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work 2 single crochets together into the last 2 stitches, just like that. So you yarn over, you insert your hook into the next stitch, then insert your hook into the next as well, and then you have 3 loops on your hook, and you yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so now this is going to be called the normal row because I'm not going to have any increments or decreases whatsoever. So what's going to happen here is you chain 1, turn your work, and you work 1 single crochet into every stitch. There is nothing like 2 single crochets together, no. It is just 1 single crochet into every stitch until the end of the row. So the row that, because I usually say this and you guys confuse it for something else, the row where I don't work any increase or decrease is what I call the normal row. And then the row where I work an increase, I will mention that this is the row of increment or the row of increase. Okay, so here I'm going to let you guys work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of your row, and I'm going to meet you there and then show you how to work the next row. Now this is going to be like a series of rows. It's just 1 row of an increase followed by 1 normal row. Okay, so here we are. I have come to the end of my row and this is how my work looks like. So like I said, we are working 1 row of a decrease, we are working 1 row of a decrease followed by 1 normal row. So for the next row we are going to work a decrease. So we chain 1, turn our work, and we are going to work 2 single crochets together into the first 2 stitches. So you insert your hook into the first stitch and yarn over, pull through a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull through a loop, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. What happens next is you work 1 single crochet into every stitch, just like we did on our second row. So even here we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we have 2 stitches to end the row. Okay, until we have 2 stitches to end the row. That's why I'm going to meet you guys and show you how to end this row as well. Remember, this is what I call the row of decrease. Then the next row is going to be what I call the normal row. So let's get to the end of our row, then I can show you what to do next. So like you can see, we are almost at the end of our row. This is where we are. Now I am going to insert my hook into the second last stitch and pull through a loop, then insert my hook into the last stitch, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. That means we have worked 2 single crochets together into our very last 2 stitches. So we chain 1, turn our work. Like I said, this is the normal row, so we are working 1 single crochet into every stitch, no increase or decrease whatsoever. So we work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of our row. That's where I'm going to meet you guys, and then I will show you guys what to do. So just work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of the row. Then I'm going to meet you there and show you what to do. Actually, no, you guys can now, pick it up from here. What we do is we are just going to repeat what we have been doing. So what we do is you work a decrease when starting and ending the row, then the next row will be just a normal row of just 1 single crochet into every stitch until the end of the row. So your work will start to decrease, and I want you guys to do that until you have 12 stitches on your row. All right, until you have 12 stitches. So that means that we are going to follow the previous step of working a a row of decrease and then the normal row. We are going to follow those 2 steps for the next 19 rows. All right, for the next 19 rows, that's what you're going to do until you have something that looks like this. Like I mentioned, you need to have 12 stitches on your last row. Okay, so just keep decreasing until you have 12 stitches on your last row, and this is how your work should look like. Now at this point, I want to now start working my front part, okay, because this is wide enough to cover up, to give good coverage for our baby's diaper and all that. So for the next row, I am going to now start working my front part. So what we are going to do here is we are going to chain 1, turn our work. Into the very first stitch, we are going to work 2 single crochets. Now that is an increase, okay? So we are going to work 2 single crochets all in this very first stitch. My tripod really gives me a hard time because it's been a long time since I last used it. I'm still struggling with the positioning and all that, but I hope I'm going to catch up later, like, you know, from practicing and all that. So yes, we have our 2 single crochets into the very first stitch. So what happens next is we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we have 1 stitch to end the row. Okay, so just work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we have 1 stitch to end the row. Then I'm going to meet you guys there and show you how to end this row as well. And now here I am. I have now 1 stitch to end the row. So what I do, into that very last stitch, I am going to work 2 single crochets into the last stitch. So this means that we have worked an increase when starting and ending the row, and this is how your work should look like. Okay, now we are going to chain 1. Once again, we are going to work a row of increase. So we chain 1, turn our work. Into the very first stitch, we are going to work 2 single crochets all in that very same stitch, just like that. We work 2 single crochets in there, and then from here we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we have 1 stitch to end the row. So basically what we did previously is exactly what we do even on this row. So just work your 1 single crochet into every stitch until you have 1 stitch to end the row, and into that very last stitch we are going to work 2 single crochets all in that very same stitch. So let me meet you guys there and show you what to do. So here we are, we have 1 stitch to end the row. So into that very last stitch, like I said, we work 2 single crochets all in that very same stitch. Now the next row is going to be a normal row, and what we are going to do is we are not going to work any increments whatsoever. So we chain 1, turn our work. Into the very first stitch, we are going to work 1 single crochet, and we are going to continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of our row. So that's why I'm going to meet you guys, then show you what to do for the next row. So here we are. This is how my work looks like. Now to work the next row, we are going to work an increment. So we chain 1, turn our work. Into the very first stitch, we are going to work 2 single crochets in the very same stitch. So we work 2 single crochets in there, and then we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we have 1 stitch to end the row. Yeah, so we work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we have 1 stitch left to end the row, and into that very last stitch we are going to work 2 single crochets into that very same stitch, just like we started our row. So let me let you guys work this row on your own until you get to the end of it, then I'll meet you on the next row and show you what to do. We are at the end of our row. This is how your work should look like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to work a row of increase on my next row. So I'll chain 1, turn my work. Then I am going to work 2 single crochets into that very first stitch. Just like I have done the previous row is exactly how I'm doing this row as well. So we work 2 single crochets into that very first stitch, and then we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we have 1 stitch to end the row. And then into that last stitch that ends the row, we are going to work 2 single crochets. Okay, so that means we have an increase when starting and ending the row. Now I'm going to let you guys work this row on your own until the end of it, and I'll meet you on the next and show you what to do. So we have come to the end of our row. This is how my work looks like. Now I'm going to chain 1. On this row I am not working any increments, so I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. I am now going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until I come to the end of my row. Okay, this is what I call the normal row because we don't have any increments or decreases whatsoever. So we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until the end of our row, and I'm going to meet you at the end of this row, then show you what to do for the next rows. Okay, so let me meet you guys there, then show you what to do. So here we are at the end of our row. This is how our work looks like. When you fold it like this, you can see that we are getting the coverage that we really want for our front part. Okay, now for the next row we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. We are going to work an increase, so that means we are going to work 2 single crochets into the very first stitch, just like we have been doing. The only difference is we have previously been working 2 rows of an increase followed by 1 normal row, but now we are going to be working 1 row of an increase followed by 1 normal row, just like we were doing for the back part. Okay, so once you have your 2 single crochets into the very first stitch, you're going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until you have 1 stitch to end the row. Okay, now into that very last stitch that ends the row, you're going to work 2 single crochets. Remember that we have an increase when starting and ending the row. So let me meet you guys at the end of this row, then show you what to do. Once you worked your 2 single crochets into the very last stitch, what you'll do next is you will chain 1 and turn your work. Like I said, this is going to be a normal row, so we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until we come to the end of our row. Okay, so just work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of our row, and after that we are going to just resume working 1 row of an increase followed by 1 normal row, 1 row of an increase followed by 1 normal row, and we are going to do that for the next 8 rows. Okay, after you have this row complete, 1 row of an increase, 1 normal row. Do that for the next 8 rows. All right, then I'm going to meet you guys after that and show you what my work looks like, and you know how many rows I have on my entire project. Okay, so like you can see, I have finished working this row and I have come to the end of it. Okay, so just do exactly what I told you. Work 1 row of an increase followed by 1 normal row, and do that repeatedly for the next 8 rows. Let me meet you guys there, then show you what to do after that. Now here we are. This is how your work should look like. Now across I have a total of 30 stitches, and then going up I have a total of 18 rows. All right, then here I have a total of 30 stitches. Okay, so now I have finished working my front part, and I am confident that this is what I am looking for. I'm just going to place my tape measure over this work so that you guys can see how accurate it is, or you can also compare in contrast with the measurements that you are getting, given the fact that we all use different tensions and also different yarn sizes. I'm going to measure this work right after this, the rows I'm going to work next, so that you guys can get an overview of everything. Now the next row is I'm going to be joining the front to the back so that I start working my waist going up. Okay, so what we do is we chain one, turn our work, we work one single crochet into every stitch until the end of the front part. Okay, work your one single crochet until the end of it, the end of the front part. Then I'm going to meet you guys there and show you how to join to the back. Now here we are. We have worked our single crochets until the end of the front part. Now to join it to the back part, what we do is I fold my work just like that, and now I am going to insert my hook into the last or the first stitch on my foundation chains for the back part. So I'll insert my hook in there and then pull through a loop. Insert my hook in there, pull through a loop, then yarn over, pull through all 2 loops. So we just crossed over and worked a single crochet. There is literally no big deal. Then we are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch, just like we did for the front part. So we just work 1 single crochet into every stitch. Remember, we are working on the opposite side of our foundation chains. So work your single crochets until the end of this row, and I'm going to meet you there to show you how to close it up to have it fully attached to the front part. All right, now here we are. I'm just cutting this peeping end off. I have come to the end of my back part, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to work a slip stitch into the chain 1 that started this row to close off my waist, just like that. Now you can see that I am starting to have a bottom, this is how it looks like so far. So from here, we are just going to be working normal rows of just single crochet. So we chain 1. Remember to turn your work always, because you may forget and keep working in rounds. So turn your work 1 single crochet into the very first stitch, and then you are going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch until you get to the end of your row. And when you get to the end of the row, you're going to work a slip stitch into the chain 1 that started the row. On this row, you should have a total of 64 stitches. So I'm going to let you go all the way around until you get right here at the end of the row. Then you work a slip stitch into the first chain that started the row. So let me meet you guys there, then tell you what to do next. Now once we have gone all the way around and we have come to our last stitch, we shall insert our hook into the chain 1, then work a slip stitch to close off our row. Now the next row is not going to be different from the one we have just worked. We chain 1, turn our work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around until you come to the end of your row, then work a slip stitch into the chain 1 that started the row. So this you are going to do all the way around until the end of the row, and you shall repeat this very same step for the next 8 rows, so that we have a total of 10 rows from right here going up. Okay, so let me meet you guys after you have all those rows complete, then I'll show you what to do next. So here we are. This is how your work should look like. All right, I'm just going to have my measurements for you guys. This is I had written all this down. This is from up here all the way down is 7.5 inches, and then from all the way across, remember we have 64 stitches, then it is 9 stitches all the way across. All right, yes, so far that's that's it. You can try to convert that to centimeters just in case you're working in centimeters, but that's how it looks like. Now let's move on to the next, the sunburst. So to work the sunburst, you're going to work with any color of your choice. First, you're going to make a magic circle, and then we are going to yarn over, insert our hook into the circle, pull through a loop, and then yarn over, pull through all. This is our starting chain. It's our starting stitch. It doesn't count as a stitch. So next we are going to work one single crochet. So we are going to work a total of 8 single crochets into the magic circle. So you work your single crochets. Sorry guys. Yeah, you work your single crochets all the way until you have 8 single crochets. Then you'll pull the loop you will pull the yarn in so that it closes up our circle. Then we shall work a slip stitch into the first stitch that started this row, just like that. It's raining in the background, so we may get a few noises, but here we are. After you have worked your slip stitch, you're going to pull the yarn end so that it closes up the circle. We are now going to work 2 half double crochets into the very first stitch. Okay, so there I am. Those are 2 half double crochets into that very first stitch, and I'm going to yarn over and continue working 2 half double crochets into every stitch all the way around. Okay, so remember we started with 8 stitches. That means now that we are working 2 half double crochets into every stitch, we are going to have a total of 16 stitches. Okay, so I'm going to let you go all the way around your project, then I'm going to get back and show you what to do next. Once you have come to the end of your row, you're going to work a slip stitch into the chain 1 that started the row. So let me meet you guys there, then show you what to do. So once you are at the end of your row and have worked your slip stitch, you're going to cut that yarn and then get another color of your choice. Now I'm just going to show you how to make this magic circle, the magic knot. So you get the yarn that you're going to add, put it above the one you've already been using, and then use it to make a knot just like that. That knot is made with that new yarn around the old yarn. Then the yarn end of the old yarn is wrapped around the new yarn and also makes a knot on that side. Okay, the next thing you do is secure all ends and make sure they are fastened so well. Then you'll get your pair of scissors and cut these 2 yarn ends right at the knot. Okay, it's better to make the magic knot before you work your last stitch of that row so that the old color does not get onto the next row. Okay, I will rectify my work later on, but let's go on with the tutorial. At this point I am going to chain 2, yarn over into that very first stitch. The chain 2 is going to act as a stitch, so into that very first stitch I am going to work 2 double crochets together. So that means you yarn over and work an incomplete double crochet. Do the very same thing once again in that very same stitch, then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Then here you will chain 1, get into the next stitch and work 3 double crochets together. Okay, so we yarn over, insert our hook into that stitch. You do that 3 times working incomplete double crochets, then you yarn over, pull through all loops on your hook, and then chain 1. Okay, chain 1, get into the next stitch, and in there still you're going to work 3 double crochets together, just like that. Then you yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on your hook, chain 1, get into the next stitch and work 3 double crochets together. So you yarn over, insert hook into that stitch, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook into that very same stitch again. You just work 3 incomplete double crochets, then yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on your hook. So you're going to do this for all the stitches all the way around. So that means we are going to have 16 sets of 3 double crochets together, And remember, we are having a chain 1 in between every set of 3 double crochets together. So do this all the way until the end of your row, and then you will work a slip stitch into the second chain stitch of the 2 chains that started the row. I'm going to meet you at the end of your row to show you what to do next. All right, now this is how your work should look like. So I'm going to work a slip stitch into the second chain stitch. Remember, you chain 1, then work that slip stitch, okay, into the second chain stitch that started the row. Now for my next row, I am going to cut this yarn and make my magic knot, then get back and show you what to do. So here I have chained 1 and turned my work. Now what I'm going to do into that very first chain 1 space, I am going to work 3 half double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space. Okay, so there you go. Remember, I turned my work, please don't forget that. Okay, now we are going to skip 1, and into the next chain 1 space we are going to work 3 double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space. Remember, after a 3 double crochet together, we have that chain 1 from the previous row. So into that chain 1 space is where we are going to work these 3 double crochets. Okay, now I'm going to yarn over. Once again, I'm going to skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space right there, and I'm going to work 3 treble crochet. Okay, so you yarn over twice, work your treble, and then yarn over twice once again, get in there, work another treble crochet, just like that. Yarn over twice once again, insert your hook into that very same chain 1 space, and work your 3rd treble. So now this is the corner. So with the corner, I am going to have to chain 1, yarn over twice, work 3 treble crochets into that very same chain 1 space once again. Okay, that is to create my corner and also now turn. Okay, so we work our 2nd treble crochet into that very same chain 1 space, then yarn over twice, work the 3rd treble crochet into that very same chain 1 space. Now here we are. So what we are going to do is we are going to skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space, and work 3 double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space, just like that. So we have 3 of them in there, and then yarn over, get into the next chain 1 space, and work 3 half double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space. Okay, so we work 3 half double crochets into that same chain 1 space, and then skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space, and work 3 double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space. There we go. Okay, now we are going to skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space, and work 3 treble crochet. Okay, so that means you yarn over twice, get in there, pull through a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you do this also for the 3rd treble, because now this is a corner. Like I said, we are working the trebles only at the corners. So because now this is a corner, we are going to chain 1 and get into that very same chain 1 space and work another set of 3 treble crochets. Okay, so yes, you work 3 treble crochets into that very same chain 1 space once again for us to turn. So that means we have also worked our 2nd corner, so we are left with having Now here we are going to skip 1 and get into the next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets. Okay, all in that very same chain 1 space. work your 3 double crochets right there, yarn over, skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space and work 3 half double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space. There you go. Skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space. I later changed the color of my 4th row of the sunburst, which is this very row I'm working. I later changed it. I took out the orange and then used white because I needed my sunburst to pop a little bit. Now skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space and work 3 treble crochets into that very same chain 1 space. So I later ended up using off-white and then having the last row of my sunburst square using orange as the main theme color, and it turned out really beautiful. I really looked at it and felt like it's not getting me that color pop I usually see with sunbursts, so I thought, how about if I use white on this row? So I had to go through my work and redo my square using the arrangement of colors in the way they have to be. So once you have your 3 treble crochets, you're going to chain 1 and into that very same chain 1 space that you were working, you work another set of 3 trebles because that's a corner. The next thing is you'll skip 1, get to the next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space, and then skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space and work 3 half double crochets into that very same chain 1 space. We have our 3rd corner, so we are working towards the 4th corner so that our square is complete. Now skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space and work 3 double crochets into that same chain 1 space. Alright, there you go. So now to work our 4th corner, we are going to yarn over, skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space and work 3 treble crochet, chain 1, 3 treble crochet all in that very same chain 1 space. There you go. So those are 3 now. Chain 1, work 3 treble crochet all in that very same chain 1 space. So that's 1 and that's the 2nd, and then we go for the 3rd. So next thing, to end our row, we are going to skip 1, get into the next chain 1 space right there and work 3 double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space. And once you have that, you're going to work a slip stitch into the chain that started the row, into the first stitch that started the row right there. And then you will now move on to working our last row of the square. Okay, so this is how your work should look like. I later ended up taking out this row and using off-white on this row, and it gave me the pop, like the color I was looking for. Now at this point I'm going to chain 2 and I'm going to turn my work. So into that very first stitch I'm going to work 3 double crochets. Oh no, I'm going to work 2 double crochets. The chain 2 is going to act as a stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to skip 2 and get into that next stitch and work 3 double crochets in there. So this row there is really nothing so unique, so I'm just going to work 1 or 2 corners with you, then I'll let you finish off the rest of the square by yourselves. So work your 3 double crochets in there, then skip 2 once again As you can see now, I am headed for the corner. So into that, you skip 3 and work into the chain 1 space at the corner. So now here I am going to work 3 double crochets all in that very same corner, then chain 1 and work another 3 double crochets all in that very same chain 1 space, because now this is the corner. We are having 6 stitches into the corners. All right, so keep that in mind when you get once you get to the corners. All right, so there you go. You have your 3 double crochets, sorry. Then here you are going to just keep skipping 2, working 3 double crochets into the next stitch. Do that until you get to the corner. Once at the corner, you are going to work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets all in that very same corner, just like we did for this. Okay, so you're going to go all the way around and about your square, remembering to put 6 stitches into the corners. When you get right here, you'll work a slip stitch into the chain 2. Okay, this is how your square should look like. All right, now that we have our square, you're going to cut your yarn, and now we are going to be working along the edges, you know, adding just a little bit more width along the 2 edges, along, you know, 2 sides of this side and the other side, the opposite side, just to add a little bit more width for our bib. Okay, because this square is our bib, right? So I'm going to get my hook and insert it into the chain 1 space at any chosen corner. Here I'll pull through my yarn and I'm going to chain 1, work a single crochet into that chain 1 space. Then I'm going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until my next corner. Okay, so just work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until your next corner, and that's where I'm going to meet you guys, then show you what to do. Now we are going to chain 1, turn your work, work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way until the end of our row, and you are going to do the very same thing for the next row as well, so that we have a total of 3 rows for our edge extensions. So just work 1 single crochet all the way until the end. When you get to the end of that row, of this row, you will chain 1 and turn your work. Once again, you work 1 single crochet into every stitch until the end of that row, then cut your yarn. So let me meet you guys after the next row as well, then show you what to do next. So once you have finished this, you are now going to use the very same technique we have used to make that extension and do it on this side. So I'm going to let you work this side as well, just like we have done the other side, then I'll meet you after that. Here we are. We have our work looking like this. Okay, so I'm going to now be working on along the edges that are unworked, which is here and also here. Okay, so I'm going to just chain 1, turn my work towards that edge, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into every single crochet post and 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way across that edge until the end of it. Okay, so let me meet you guys there, then show you what to do. Just work 1 single crochet into every single crochet post and stitch until the end of the row. So once you come to the end of the row, you will cut your yarn. Okay, now we are going to work along the bottom edge. Okay, now I'm at the bottom edge. Here I am. I just attached my yarn, made a magic knot, and you know, from the yarn end that I found on this side. So I'm going to do the very same thing I just did on the previous edge. Work one single crochet into every single crochet post and every stitch all the way until the end of my edge, okay? Just like I did previously up to there. That's why I'm going to meet you to show you how to work your buttonholes. Okay, now here we are at the end of our row. So we are going to chain one and turn our work into the very first stitch. I'm going to work a single crochet, and then I'll work one single crochet into the next stitch. Then here I am going to chain two. This is for my buttonhole. So I chain two and skip 2 stitches, work one single crochet into the next stitch, and then I'm going to continue working one single crochet into every stitch until I have 4 stitches to end my row. So just work one single crochet into every stitch until you have 4 stitches. Then I'm going to meet you guys there and show you what to do. Once you have 4 stitches to end the row, what you will do is you will chain 2 and skip 2. Then you will work one single crochet into the second last stitch, and then one single crochet into the last stitch. So now we have our buttonholes onto our bib. The next thing we are going to do is we shall chain one, turn our work. Now on this row, because we are just making sure that we secure the edge and our buttonholes, we are just going to be working one single crochet into every stitch and every chain stitch along this row until the end of it. So you work one single crochet into the first 2 single crochet stitches from the previous row. Then you work 2 single crochets into the chain 2 gap, and then you continue with one single crochet into every stitch until the chain 2 gap, and in there you also work 2 single crochets in there. Then you work one single crochet until the end of the row right there. After that, you're going to cut your yarn, all right, and then we have our bib complete. So now that we have our bib complete, we are going to get our yarn needle, and now we are going to hand sew our bib onto our pant. So what we do is we turn our bib in out, we place it over the front part of our pant, okay, and then we hand sew it, making sure that it has been placed proportionally, making sure the stitches on both sides are the same, like the same number of stitches on both sides that are going to be left unworked. So just try to make sure that it is centered and it's proportional. All right, so hand sew it until the end. Then you will just make a knot and secure your end, weave it in, and I'm going to get back to show you how to work the back part and the straps. So we are going to pick up from where we stopped on the last row of our pant, okay? So that's where we are picking up from, because I remember we didn't cut our yarn. If you had cut your yarn, then you may need to make a magic knot and just, pick it up from there. So this is how my work looks like so far. The baby is fully attached. So I am going to get my hook into that last loop, and I am going to work 6 slip stitches towards the back, okay? You're going to work 6 slip stitches towards the back, and that's where I'm going to meet you guys, then show you what to do. Then here we are going to chain one and work one single crochet into that very same stitch. Then we are going to work one single crochet into every stitch for the next 21 stitches, okay? So basically we are also going to have unworked stitches on the other side, but make sure that it's the same number of unworked stitches from the bib to our first stitch, and same applies from where we started. We should have the same number of stitches that we have skipped on that we have left unworked on both sides, starting from the bib towards the back, okay? So you're going to go on and on working one single crochet. I had a total of 22 stitches for my back, and it should be right that you have the same, okay? So once you have your first row complete, you're going to just chain one, then work one single crochet into every stitch all the way across, and this is what you are going to keep doing for the next 19 rows. Okay, so just work one single crochet into every stitch all the way for the next 19 rows until you have something longer that is almost to the length of our bib. All right, so let me meet you guys there, then show you what to do. Now that we have our back part complete, we are now going to start working on our strap. So to work the strap, you're going to chain one, turn your work one single crochet into every stitch for the next 5 stitches. That's wide enough for our strap. So you work one single crochet into every stitch for the next 5 stitches, and once you have all 5 stitches, you will chain one, turn your work one single crochet into every stitch for the next 5 stitches once again, and this is what we are going to do repeatedly until the end of the row, until we have a long strap. I suggest that your strap is at least 20 rows or 22 rows. Okay, so just keep repeating this. Chain one, turn your work one single crochet into every stitch for the next 5 stitches until you have 22 rows for your strap. Then you'll do the very same thing on this side to have your second strap. So I'm going to meet you guys once I have both straps complete, but for now let me turn my work and show you how to work the hem or along the edges of our pant, so that we can come to the end of this tutorial as soon as possible. So first we are going to insert our hook into the stitch that joined the front to the back part of the pant. So we pull through a loop just like that, and then you chain one and work a single crochet into that very same stitch. Okay, now we are going to be working along the edge of our left leg of the pant, okay, and crotch area. So what we do is we are going to work one single crochet into every single crochet post. Okay, it is so easy to know where to put your single crochets because you clearly can see, like, this is the single crochet that ran this row, this is the next single crochet that ran the row. So what we do is we just work one single crochet into every post, every single crochet post along this edge, and I'm going to let you guys go all the way around until you get back to where we started the row, and there you will work a slip stitch into the chain one that started the row. But basically you just work one single crochet into every single crochet post. So let me let you guys go all the way around your leg, and I'm going to get back and show you what to do after this row. All right, so once you have come to the end of your row, and this is how your work should look like, you can see that I have worked along the entire edge. Now what is left for me is to start the band. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to chain 5. Those are 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Now into the second chain stitch from the hook, I'm going to work a single crochet. So you work a single crochet in there, then you continue working one single crochet into every stitch for the next 3 stitches. So that means we have a total of 4 stitches for our band. So once you have your 4th single crochet, we are now going to insert our hook into the next stitch along the edge and work a slip stitch to attach our band, our first row of the band. Then we shall work a slip stitch into the next stitch along the edge, turn your work one single crochet into every stitch along the band. Okay, so that we have a total of 4 stitches. So we work our first stitch, then we come through with our second, insert your hook into the third and work a single crochet, then work your last single crochet of the band. So far we have 2 rows for our band, and that's how it's turning out. Here we shall chain 1. You can always use this technique on sweaters, skirt hems or waistlines. It's very, you know, it gives a neat finish. So we chain 1, turn our work 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way for the next 4 stitches of our band. Okay, so we have 3, then we go in with the 4th, and then we are now going to insert our hook into the next stitch along the edge of our pant, work a slip stitch, then work a slip stitch into the next stitch as well, turn your work 4 single crochets into the next 4 stitches along the band. So it's just going to be something so simple that you're going to do repeatedly for every stitch along the edge of our pant all the way around until you come to the end of our edge. Okay, so I'm just going to let you guys work the rest of the rows of the band on your own. You just chain 1, turn your work 4 single crochets into the next 4 stitches along the band, then work a slip stitch into the next stitch along the edge, work another slip stitch into the next stitch along the edge. After that you will turn your work 4 single crochets into the next 4 stitches along the band. So do that repeatedly all the way around, and I'm going to see you at the end of your hem where you will just hand sew the, you know, the first row and the last row of our band together to close this up. Then you are going to pick up the knowledge and what we have done on this side and do it for the other leg of your pant and work a band for it as well. Then I'm going to get back and just show you where to place your buttons and how. Then we have come to the end of this tutorial. So here we are. I am just going to show you how to stitch the ends of our band together. It's just you get your yarn needle, get the yarn end through the eyelet of your needle and just stitch this together. There is no mats. After that you cut your yarn and weave in your ends. Make sure it is secured. Next thing is we are going to get our buttons. Like you can see, I'll get my buttons and just place them onto my one strap. I'm going to be using 2 buttons on each side of on every strap, just to help me with adjustments, just in case my baby outgrows this. So after you have hand sewed your band, and now you just get your needle and thread and start to hand sew your buttons onto the strap. Then you will use the very same knowledge we have used to work on this strap and work buttons on the other strap as well. And there you will just have to weave in all ends on your romper, and we have our romper complete. Thank you so much guys for watching. This is like my return project.